Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. What's going on, my brother? You having some technical difficulties over there?
Man, the future
dog barks
ass back.
Yeah, you're back to 2175 right now.
Yeah. And if I murdered this dog because he doesn't stop barking, I'm not gonna make it too much farther. Jesus.
No, you're not, because your wife will probably kill you right after that, right? Yeah, man. As always, this show is brought to you by Jonathan Parrilla, our good EP, and Maritza, our second EP. Thank you guys so much for supporting the show. Let's go ahead and kick it off with the intro and get into this shit talk, man.
What are you doing right now?
The big V. Look, man.
All right, man. Let's just jump right into this shit.
I made my wife wake up and drive me there anyway.
¿Qué
pasa con eso? ¿Qué pasa con español?
¿Qué pasó, papá? ¿Cómo estás? Any questions?
Now, when you bought that sweater, right? You just go, fuck it. I'm going full Mr. Rogers. You've tuned into the Man Chatter podcast. Hey guys, once again, thank you so much for checking out the show. Really appreciate you guys taking the time out to listen. If you listen to this after the fact, we were 32 seconds off the start because I am still in 1875 and John got subtracted, retrieved to 2175. These are just the things that happen, but we at it now, baby. What's going on, brother?
What's going on, man? The future apparently didn't like me. I don't know what it was. I think maybe I didn't go in hard enough on Tucker Carlson the other day, and they said, "No, you're not ready for 2275. Come back to us."
Yeah, that's it.
We'll send you back to 2175. Come back to us in 100 years.
Yeah, it's pretty pathetic that so we'll go into that in the next segment. Right now is but yeah, I was kind of surprised that you didn't go as hard as I thought you were. I think a lot of that was because it was kind of like a last minute thing, you know, and you hadn't done your research. Because if you guys don't know, John doesn't watch TV live. He purely watches stuff on delayed or whatever he wants. He really just watches Jean-Claude Van Johnson, right? That's the show.
Thank you.
All you watch.
Great show.
You don't know anything outside of that.
If you know about great television, then you know Jean-Claude Van Johnson.
It's not a great show, John.
Huh?
I don't.
Get yourself some Amazon Prime.
I refuse to watch
Amazon Video.
Amazon Prime doesn't
watch it. If you know what's good for you, watch it.
I refuse to watch it. Amazon Prime does not work with my Google Chromecast, so there's that. That is a thing that's happening. But yeah, man, I was kind of surprised about it. But you know, yeah, it's also I guess with the internet, like every time I try to watch it, it just doesn't work right. Like it's lagged, it stops, it buffers, and it's the only one of my apps that does that. So it's definitely one of those things where, you know, it's the rival, so they're gonna make it not work as well.
Yeah,
and it's the first time that I've clearly seen tampering in that sense. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So you live and you learn.
Yeah, I mean, you know,
yeah, man.
What can you do?
So on today, no, nothing really. Just not watch it because I was trying to watch Coming to America. It wasn't that good in the first 10 minutes that I saw, and I was like, yeah, I think I'm good. I think I'm all set here.
Damn.
Did you watch it? Have you seen it?
I haven't, but I keep hearing, I keep seeing comments about them. Like, was everyone watching the same movie I was watching? So apparently, it's not as good as it was hyped up to be. I mean, it's not going to be good as the first one. That's for sure.
Definitely not.
So if that's what people were expecting.
Hola, Marvin, ¿cómo estás? That's family in Panama. So family in Panama. But yeah, man. Yeah, I tried to watch it. It wasn't funny. Seems like they were trying really hard, and you just kind of move on. I was like, I'm all set. And then I think we started watching some shit on HGTV because I'm an all app household. Right? I have like Discovery Plus, Hulu, Netflix. You know what I mean? You name it, I got it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm about to get Paramount because it's the only way I'm going to be able to watch Champions League, because not all Champions League is on there. Because Real Madrid made it through, Barcelona didn't. I just want to make sure I throw that right at your neck.
Did they?
You know, you have Messi, we just have Benzema, and somehow, yeah, they did 4-1 against Atalanta. Well, you guys played PSG, so
yeah, but PSG, I think didn't they beat them 4-2
like I said,
or 5-2
today we're gonna
in
be
the first
talking.
leg?
Yeah, it was pretty bad, and that was without Neymar. They had I don't think they had Neymar or Di Maria.
Yeah, that was embarrassing.
So I honestly don't know how they won.
Let's not talk about it anymore.
But yeah, I mean, I think we got it right. I think we covered that, because Barcelona just isn't the same, even though they're number 2 in La Liga right now. But La Liga is hard to watch at times.
It is.
Like Real Madrid is hard to watch. Yeah. But all right, John. This next segment, we're going to be talking about the fact that John did not defend. I'm not going to go at your neck too hard, because your wife watches and listens to this show. So I'm going to let you handle this, man. What did you think about Tucker Carlson's comments about the feminization of our military?
Look, first of all, I'm not sure where you're getting these statements, your quote unquote facts, that I didn't go hard enough at this dude. All right. He looks like he
is my facts. That's
no, my wife gave us some constructive criticism, and I guess she was I'm passionate about the subject, right? So she thought that I was going to go in at it more. But you dropped it on me in like the last hour, maybe 2 hours before the show, and I was like, hey, I'll get to it, except life happens, and you don't get to research it as much as you can
every single day.
And then you don't there's like points that you want to write down, even if you don't research it. Like there's things that you want to talk about and we didn't get to. First of all, I like that title, the Tuck. He definitely tugs. That's for sure. Yeah. But
100%. He's definitely Tucker.
Look, man, women have been in. It's just like black people in the military, right? They've been part of the U.S. military since revolutionary times, right? There were women that were disguising themselves as men so that they could join the revolutionary forces. I mean, this isn't new. When we're talking about feminizing the military and softening it and whatever else terms, good old Tuck used, women have been disguising themselves as men, first of all, to fight in the Revolutionary War, to serve or to provide some kind of support. I mean, Tucker Carlson, if he could, he would disguise himself as a woman if that allowed him to not serve in the military or do anything that required bravery or any sort of strenuous effort on his part. Look at that dude. Like what behind Trump's hair,
makeup.
Right? The makeup and the hair, like he's right behind him.
Yeah.
It's not quite as wispy, I would 100%. Say, but that dude is not the epitome of a man and hell of a woman. He's just the epitome of like a soft piece of shit that talks on TV. But that's just my opinion. Yeah. Look, man, like we said her in the previous show, my wife retired. She served 20 years. I deployed with I had soldiers that were women. My commanding officer was a woman. We're in this day and age. It's 2021. I don't know what year you're in. I was in 2021, right? I'm in 2175 right now.
18.
But the year we find ourselves in,
like 1892,
and we're still making these fucking comments,
right?
About, and it's not just women. We happen to be talking about women, whether it's because you're black or because you're a woman or because you're Latino, whatever. We're still having that conversation, or those comments are still coming out, that ignorance. Well, we're feminizing the military. And I think you mentioned something about the that flight suit, that the initiative suits. For that, the initiative for those suits was actually started under former President Trump.
Correct. Yeah.
So President
weird,
Trump.
It's that weird. President Trump feminized the military, then, right? It's that weird revisionist history where literally one Google search gets you the answer, but this rant or that rant on YouTube just gives you the ammunition or the talking points you need. Like I heard something on YouTube, and then I researched it, right? And you start looking at the conservative party. What this isn't like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, fuck it, it is. Like the conservative party always being like the support our troops slogan. Oh, how dare you say something negative about the troops? That's literally what Tucker Carlson did, right? And Cenk Uygur from the Young Turks, you know, progressive media, made this point that one of his YouTube commenters made was the fact that it's you could almost directly correlate it to when Trump was in office and Michael Flynn, former general, they were literally considering a military coup, right, to overthrow the election and just roll right into a dictatorship. I think they talked about it for over an hour in the White House. And so when they didn't do that, that's when it's the little crickets started to chirp. You know what I mean? Of, oh, well, the military didn't do this, or they're soft, or they're this, or it's the feminization. Like, this isn't like, the progressives don't attack the military in that way. You know what I mean? It's always like, look, we need to be better about the money we spend and stuff like that. It's almost like the progressives have become the fiscal conservatives with that side of it. But this attack of saying this is basically what they were saying, right? Because they like to codify their words and, you know what I mean, hide behind like pretty and legal jargon and shit. But they were pussifying the military, right? Like they were calling the military bitches, because if you're saying you're feminizing the military, and that's just what it is, then you're saying that the men that are in there are pussy too, right? Because you said you're feminizing the military. That's all of it. And again, like it's so ignorant. It takes one quick Google search, like John said. The flight suit that he showed on his rant, which we covered last podcast, we're not going to give him any more audio airtime on this podcast, but we'll continue to shit on him because it's our podcast. The fact that the flight suit that he showed wasn't under President Biden, it was under President Trump. So again, it just takes a quick. So then what you're saying is the feminization of the military began under President Trump, right? If you want to continue with that talking point, that's what you should actually say.
Absolutely.
It was
right?
stupid.
So
it was so ridiculous, man.
So if President Trump wasn't feminizing the military, then what was he doing? He was being progressive in his thinking, saying, yeah, it's about time that we made uniforms to fit the female body, but never talked about it. And then when he does bring it, he just makes it seem as if it was something that Biden or his administration decided to do. These things don't just happen, by the way. They take months of research, R&D, and it goes through multiple levels.
Yes.
Not
millions of dollars.
2 months of Biden being in office. So if they have a working uniform prototype, whatever, it's been in the works for months, if not years.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Think about when we were in, right? Like we were in at the time where we went from BDUs to ACUs, right? How many years was it that you heard that, hey, we're going to get new uniforms?
Right.
I remember at least 2 to 3 years. I think when I was in boot camp, like, oh, BDUs are going to be outclassed or taken out of circulation, and so are the DCUs, and it's just going to be ACUs and shit like that. Like it took years, and then I think it was like my last 14 months of in the military when we went to ACUs or some shit like that. Like it takes years of research, and you got to get the right material. You have to get the right seller. It takes years, and you got to get the bidding war right. Like it takes years to do that shit.
That's the big one, right? You have that contract. You got to get the contract out, and then once that bidding war, is over, and you get the right contractor, then again it goes through all those steps of testing, and we call it research and development, but it goes through all those different steps. Fitting, is the material right? Is it waterproof enough? Is it consistent with the requirements that we put forth in the contract? So now we got to test, and they got to field it to certain units, and eventually, once it went through all those steps, it started being fielded. It started being sent out to the field slowly. It wasn't a requirement. It was okay. It's available for sale now, so they were finalized. But it took years. It was just word of mouth, and eventually they became available for sale. So it's not something that happens overnight. The fact that they have a uniform that's already out there means that it's been in the works for a while. So
Yes.
my hat's off to former President Trump then, because he's the one
Yeah.
that started this.
Thank
I'm
you for
gonna
that,
murder
man.
these dogs.
Thank,
But he's the one that
thank you
that
for
started this.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to thank President Trump for giving Tucker Carlson his talking point that he then portrayed as something that was going on under President Biden. Which again, take it from two people who are veterans who know how the PNN, the private news network, works. Right? You hear about shit years ahead of time before it ever becomes a real thing. Not counting the research, not counting the millions of dollars spent on R&D, the contracts, the bidding, all that stuff. Like it's disingenuous, but it's par for the course, right? What I don't know if you saw, I think it was a division in the of the Marines went at Tucker Carlson, right? Like after his comments, like made some like it was probably like a younger person made some like jokey memes commentary on Twitter, and then the right wing, Ted Cruz and them attacked the Marines, saying like I can't believe the military's been politicized. I was like, if the military's been politicized, you started it, and then the Marine division had to apologize and saying they'll do better. Like, nah, man, keep that same fucking energy, bro. You're Marines. Like, can't nobody talk shit about you. I mean, we do, but that's just because we were Army. That's just a friendly brotherly rivalry.
That's right. That's just that's par for the course. That's what we do with each other. That's what we talk shit, and then everyone talks shit about the Air Force. So that's normal though. But yeah, man. Like Ted Cruz.
That's par for the course.
That's par for. Hey, look, when you get to have a switch and a big screen TV at tech school, yeah, we're gonna talk shit about you all day. That's how it works, Air Force. Good on you. Yeah, we're gonna 100%. Talk shit about you all day.
There's my dog.
Oh man, that dog. Oh, that was yours. I was gonna say where did that bark come from? That was like a little too close, and I don't have a dog that's big. That's that huge.
Yeah, no. No, this is my dog.
See, and the problem was that I think
you were saying about Ted Cruz.
Yeah, well, Ted Cruz, the new Secretary of Defense, I think made some comments, and so Cruz took that upon himself to say, what you just said, that it's a shame that we're politicizing the military. This is one thing that should have been kept out of politics. It's nonpartisan. When has the military, though, has it not been politicized? Because, like you said, the Republicans are we're for guns, we're for military prowess, et cetera, and they use that every time they campaign, whether it's a congressman, a senator, or someone for president. Like that's one of their huge talking points, which is funny because coincidentally enough, it is a partisan thing. If you look at these committees and subcommittees on defense, appropriations, and all that, it's the one in the House is led by a Democratic senator, or a Democratic representative.
Yep.
And
Congressman.
And they vote almost all in favor of like these. That's why I say like they vote along the same lines. Like they agree. All these subcommittees made up of Republicans and Democrats, and their votes are either all yes or all no when they vote. They never disagree. It's always, if you just look at the news networks and the mainstream media and the stuff that we get fed, then that's when stuff becomes like, oh, the Republicans aren't allowing us to do this, or the Democrats aren't allowing us to do that, and they're not keeping things. They don't want to be bipartisan. In reality, behind closed doors, they work really well together. They agree or disagree on the same fucking points.
Incredibly well.
And yet, when we watch this bullshit on TV, it's like they could never agree on anything, not even the color of the sky. Yep. One will say it's blue, one will say it's the absence and the reflection of whatever, and it, it's funny. It's a game. That's why, like, this whole shit is a game for people that if you just watch the news, whatever your chosen network is, you're gonna follow that line of bullshit that they're feeding you, whether you're a Democrat or Republican. But yeah, no, look, man, I wanted to tell a story about like I told you, my wife served. Some of my best friends that were in the military, they served or retired. Some of the commanding officers I had served. One of them was a West Point graduate. I mean, these are I'm not going to say women. Obviously, they're women. We're talking about women in the military. They're competent individuals, competent soldiers, more than competent. And we have some guy. I mean, look, every time I'm scrolling and they're just like, shots of Tucker Carlson with different faces. It's just like this
with that
come
weird face.
mierda face that he has.
This face right here.
Yeah, that one.
This like weird
Yeah,
fucking
that face.
who listens like that? You know, like that's you know what that's like when you like forget your contacts or your glasses at home and you're driving and you just can't see the thing. You're like, no, that's how you look to see something from far away. But to make that face, it's not real life. Before you go into the story of all the other women you served with, females you served with, right? It's funny that Ted Cruz would come to the defense of Tucker Carlson because wasn't Fox News supposed to be nonpartisan? Right? Like isn't that what they're supposed to? They're just supposed to tell straight news. So why would Ted Cruz come to his defense and saying that the military's being politicized? I'm like, no, I mean, if you're talking about a fucking a TV personality, they're not supposed to be political. So a political party shouldn't come up for the defense, right? Like other people on the network can do it, but a Republican representative or Democratic representative shouldn't come to your defense if they're not supposed to be political. They're just supposed to be telling the news. So that's just a clear bias. I mean, everybody knows that, right? Like you watch Fox News, typically you're a Republican. You watch CNN, you're like a centrist Democrat-ish type person. You watch MSNBC, you're hard left, woke, fake woke liberal, with virtue signaling. You know what I mean?
Those are my favorite.
Like that's just real. Like those are the worst kind of people, bro. Those are the people that are like almost like on the spectrum. They're almost Antifa. You know what I mean? But they're also QAnon. Like they're that weird thing where like they don't believe everything or anything. It's weird, dude. Those woke liberals annoy the fuck out of me, man. They annoy me.
They do. They're like because they're the ones that brought on cancel culture.
We gotta have a whole conversation about that. Yeah, the whole like you have to be anti-racist. Like no, man, you just have to acknowledge what racism is and understand it. Or you have to be anti-racist. What the fuck does what the fuck does anti-racist even mean? Like that's just a word that came up during cancel culture. And again, it's like they try to cancel Eminem. That could be a whole different fucking podcast. But yeah. No,
man, look, this dude, Tucker
Let's
Carlson.
Stay on topic.
He was
I gotta be rein it in.
What was he trying to do? Cancel women out of the military, essentially? Since we're talking about cancel culture, I mean that's essentially that's right. What he's trying to do, right? Cancel women from the military. That's his point of view.
Yeah.
And again, it's an ignorant one when he's talking about we're sending women to go fight our wars, and then while he's saying that, you know, him or his producers,
pregnant women, pregnant
women. He's not intelligent enough to come up with this stuff. But the people that tell him what it is he needs to say, and the producers that run that show, will put up a picture of a pregnant woman in a flight suit while he's saying we're sending pregnant women to fight our wars.
Yep.
So that you make that connection when we know that that's not the case. If you served, you know that's not the case. And if you didn't serve and you have an ounce of, you know, kind of logical thinking and common sense, and you just separate yourself from like whatever cultist views you have, you realize, we're sending pregnant women to fight our wars. Is that what's happening? Of course it's fucking not.
That's like,
of course it's not.
Stupid,
but you're gonna listen. If that's what you want to believe, you're gonna listen to that and think about things like that.
Yeah. How are you the party of pro-life and telling women that what they can and can't do with their bodies, but you're also somehow logically thinking that they're sending pregnant women to war? And in that picture that they showed, like they could have done some fuck shit and like edited a pregnant woman in the battlefield. That woman that they showed was like standing in a hallway of an office.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like in an air conditioned room, like wearing a flight suit. Like, what are we talking about here, bro? It's so stupid. Like, just again, like John said, take yourself away from the cultist views that you have, right? Being left or right. You know what I mean? So like, you don't have to follow. I don't follow anything 100%. I question, like Jay-Z said, I'll say it again. Question religion, question it all. Like you take that moment, like, oh man, that seems like it doesn't make sense. Like, wait, we're sending pregnant women to war? No, we're not. We never have. Has never happened. The moment the military finds out you're pregnant, you're on a profile to further notice. A profile means that you're on light duty, office work, the entire non-deployable immediately. John, say that again because I was speaking over you. Say that again.
Non-deployable. Non-deployable. Pregnant woman, you get a profile and you're non-deployable. So
yeah, it's ridiculous.
And for those of you that don't understand compound words and big military words, non-deployable means, let's break it down. Yeah. You can't deploy. Also, two
So, yeah,
words.
so
Can't deploy,
and
but just it doesn't sound as catchy.
and another one is if you're pregnant, you'll never be in a war zone. So all that is bullshit. The entire foundation of his argument is complete and utter fucking nonsense.
Yeah.
But what else
Yeah,
can you
no
expect from
background.
he's a
I got
virtue
kicked out.
signaler, right? That's what. Yeah. He's a virtue signaler, right? Is what he is. He's like, oh, this is what you should be mad at now. Oh, stop petting your hair like that, bro. That's just a little weird.
I'm gonna do it again.
All right,
Just
I
because
think we hammered the. Oh god, I think we hammered the tuck enough, right?
Yeah, look, I just want to end
think we're all set
this
on that one.
particular segment with the fact that just as there are competent and incompetent men in the military and in any career field, there are incompetent and competent women. It's not, but and that applies across all races and genders. It's not just
Yes.
Again, I get it. It's like their own lawyer said, Tucker is entertainment. He's not a newscaster. A reasonable person would not take what he says and believe that it's fact. Those are, and I'm paraphrasing, but those are the words of their attorneys, not me.
Correct. In open court.
Last year. In open court. Those are their attorney's words, and I'm paraphrasing, but if you look it up, you'll find that I'm pretty close to what they said. A reasonable person would not think that what Tucker Carlson is saying is actual news or fact. He's entertainment. So I understand the point, where he's coming from. And look, I still see Trump signs on people's yards. That has nothing to do with you're a conservative or you support a particular party or point of view. That's he's like a cult. Like when we said people have, he has a cult following. When you see that, you realize, what are we doing? What's going on? You still have those in your yard. People still have them in their car. Like, I get it. You support the guy, but you should support the party, whatever your beliefs are. And if you believe in Trump, then maybe you wait till 2024. I don't know, but yeah, I mean that got a little off topic there at the end. But yeah, look, I've served with some outstanding women. My wife was, I thought was, I got to see it day in and day out. I got to see how competent she was. I got to see how she led her soldiers. I got to see the example she set for her soldiers, her peers, and even those seniors, her senior leaders. That's why she was put in positions of leadership that were above her pay grade, well above her pay grade. And she's not, and I'm not saying that because she's my wife. She so happens to be my wife, and so it's great that I had that example to see. But she's not the only one. So to see Tucker Carlson and hear that dude talk about the military trying to Biden trying to feminize the military as if women in the military is a bad thing, it's an insult. It's an insult to every American. It's an insult to soldiers. It's an insult. If you support this guy and support his views, you might want to take a hard look, kind of a hard stop, and just really look at yourself and think, like, why do I listen to this? Maybe I should start forming my own opinions.
Correct. Yeah, no, I couldn't have said it better myself, man. It doesn't make sense, dude. You can't. I mean, I guess you can't do whatever the fuck you want, right? But to do a 180 like that, when you're like, support our troops always, let's send troops everywhere, to 2 months into a Biden administration, man, the military is being feminized by Biden. It just doesn't correlate. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense, and it never will. But hopefully, like John said, you can formulate your own opinion, do your own research. And by the way, research literally is just be like one Google thing. We're like, oh, when was the military flight suits being put into work? Oh, right. During the Trump administration. That's it. Done. Bam, boom, and it's done. It just doesn't make sense, dude.
Yeah.
All right, man. Let's get into this next topic. If you guys didn't realize what the closing of that thing was fuck Tucker Carlson. I feel like I just wanted to add that in there. He's an entertainer. So also, real quick, if his lawyer says he's an entertainer, then he's a celebrity. Doesn't the right wing hate celebrities? Isn't that kind of what they do? Right? Like, none of it makes sense. None of it. I got nothing.
No, that'll be an entire other segment. You know, like I think we covered it well enough.
Yeah. All right. Shout out to Papa Biden with the stimmy.
That's right.
Hey, man. So tell me about it. You were excited this morning. That's right.
Uncle
Papa Biden, as you
Uncle
can't tell,
Moneybags.
that's a trolling. Yeah. That's a trolling comment. That's a trolling post right there. Papa Biden, because everybody, Uncle Joe and all that shit. That motherfucking
Uncle
related
Joe.
to me, bro. He's just the
Papa
president of the United
Biden.
States.
Yeah.
There's no romanticizing this guy. He's just the president. All politicians are just politicians. You'll never see me with a fucking bumper sticker or a flag.
By the way, Congress decided that. In case you guys didn't know, it's Congress, the legislative branch, that makes the laws.
Yep.
Biden just has to sign. Yes, he's got veto power, but by the time it gets to his desk, people probably on his party and on the opposite party have probably agreed, and it's probably going to be a yes. Just in case you didn't know how it works, it's not Trump, it's not Biden, it's not Obama, it's not Bush or Clinton. It is Congress. The people that you should be looking at, they are the ones that write laws. They are the ones that create it. If you need to worry about people looking out for you, those are the ones that you need to worry about. Pay attention to the congressmen, pay attention to senators, pay attention to your local councilmen. Not, I think my brother put up a video about that. It's an older video. It's like a rapper going off about like who makes the laws and who you really should be voting for, and how the president really is just, we focus on the president, but it's really the legislative branch and then the judicial branch who enforces these laws, the ones that we should be worrying about. And we don't. It's like it's like a magician or what is it?
Like how many people know their congressman? How many people know their, like I was saying, like how many people know their congressman? I had to Google mine. I was like, oh, it's probably some old white dude. And it is. I live in a very Republican area, so I would just assume that. My dog is crying relentlessly, bro. You think he's being murdered.
Uncle Moneybags.
Papa Biden,
by the way,
like that one?
I sent you some you got my messages or on Instagram about people that have kids and how happy they are now that they're getting the stimulus because they get an extra $1,400 per dependent.
Yep. I'm gonna put up a post on Twitter. I'm gonna put up a post on Twitter with my Cash App. Like, yo, man, all you motherfuckers that hate socialism or the government giving you handouts, cash at me that stimmy. Yeah. I will take it, man. We pay fucking taxes like crazy. We have so much money. We give hundreds of billions to other countries. The one time they give it to us, you want to start crying. But the same people that were crying about that are crying when we give it to other countries. I was like, when are you happy then, bro? When are you happy? Like when is it? When are we like, you know what? All right, it makes sense that they give us our own money back. Like it's not like free money that they just pulled out of their ass. They taxed us like crazy. So there was tons of money to be had.
Yeah, in case you're wondering what taxes are or where they come from you. You're just getting your money back.
Yeah. They're giving you your own money.
Also, the government decided to start putting money out of there. They're printing more money that they're printing more than what they've taxed. And apparently that's fine because, we know these are all made up numbers. That'll be part of the topic that we'll discuss here later on in a little bit. But yeah, man, I'm going to use that money to. Well, I already had some money set aside to invest. Or additional investments on top of what I have with my 401ks and Roth and stuff like that. But that may pay for a vacation if we're able to. In the Maldives.
Are we segueing right into Jonathan's financial advice?
No. We're talking about what we're gonna do with the stimmy, and so I'm saying I might spend that money on a vacation. We might spend that money on a vacation. We'll see. We're thinking about going to the Maldives. So you look at plane tickets and vacation packages, and I was like, wait, what? It's only that much? It's like, damn. Yeah. I mean, their economy depends on tourism, so they need anything they can get.
Did you end up checking out Scott's cheap flights?
Yeah, I have them.
That's where they have like the. Okay. You should definitely subscribe. Like I get their emails. Like I don't know if you have to like pay for it. Yeah, like I don't know if you have to pay for it because I don't pay for shit. I just get like the emails of like oh, this is what's available now.
Mhm.
So that's literally all I look at. I don't get like the subscription. I don't pay because it's super expensive. I think it's like $50 a month. Like I'm not doing that shit.
Is it
Like
a
the
month?
stimmy only
I thought it
comes
was for
through
the year.
once every. It doesn't matter. I'm not paying that much money for something where I already just get the alert of the email and I'm good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but the subscription gives you like a little bit more. Like I think they go and they give you personalized stuff that you're not going to get in the email, or just more in depth
Yeah.
searches.
No, I'm cool.
But I thought it was $49 a year because if it's $49 a year, I think it's worth doing it if you're going to save a few hundred or a few thousand. If it's a month,
we got
then
our.
I don't know.
It's a lot of money. We got our vaccine yesterday, so now like we're like, oh okay, we got our first one from Moderna, right? We get the second one next month. So it's like now we're like, okay, we're starting to feel a little bit more relaxed. Obviously, you're not fully vaccinated till the second one,
Right.
but yeah. So it's something, man.
Yeah, man. That's the other thing
Dude, it's so
we were
crazy.
thinking about
What are you
because
gonna say?
we're thinking about if we do travel and they start opening up these countries and they start well, I mean they're already open, but they start letting Americans in. Then we got to worry about the stipulations. Are we gonna have to quarantine for 14 days? Because if so, then we can't make that trip. I'm not taking 3 weeks of vacation. I have it, but I'm not taking 3 weeks of vacation. Um, to pay for the lodging in Maldives it's gonna be crazy. That's gonna be a high bill.
And
And then are they gonna require like a
you also have
vaccine
to think about
passport?
how many. Well, what I could tell you right now, when we got our shot, they give you a card, which we're gonna like end up laminating because they're probably gonna end up requiring that with your passport as you're traveling. But there's a lot of countries we can't go to, right? Like there's a lot of places we can't travel to just because of the country we're in. We have a lot of blocks, so we're
Right.
probably gonna have to wait a while to like really travel. You know?
Yeah, well, I mean that's been the
I
case,
don't know.
right?
It's
I
just
think they're
weird, dude.
slowly opening
It's
up. I know Europe was close to us for a long time. They even may still be. So
Mhm.
we'll see. I have to, everywhere you go, they have the COVID-19. Like if you're planning on traveling here, check out our policies. So I have to go and see what the
Our
policy is
protocol,
for
yeah.
traveling to Maldives and if we'll be able to travel and what we'll need to do, vaccines or whatever it is. I don't know.
Yeah, because the protocols for each country is so different. Like, shit, the protocol for each state is so different. But yeah, with the stimmy, I actually put it right into my savings, man. Like
Nice.
I was able to put most of that away. I
Mhm.
separated some other stuff to like pay an additional bill, because again, like
Okay.
most of the money is gonna go right back. It's gonna go right back into the economy, right? So like I paid a bill that I paid like a credit card bill or some shit with a little bit of that money to not touch my actual checking account. So I was able to save it. So we're just planning for different shit. Like next plan that we have for a big purchase is we're looking to buy a shed. Almost like a garage where we split it to like one side, like have all our storage that we have in that makeshift pantry that where we have our bikes and shit.
Right.
So have it out there and like convert that into a gym. So have a shed or garage/garage large enough. So we're looking at different ways of doing that. Just finding a different way to do it. So that's kind of the plan. Like again, it's I'm not gonna lie to you, it's burning a fucking hole in my pocket. But
Yeah.
because I'm a person who always likes to spend money. But with the last thing, I bought the bike. I was like, no, with this one, I gotta be smarter, and I gotta get back on that fucking bike too. Like I worked out today for the first time since I fucked my arm up last year, and dude, it felt good. Like, yeah, dude. Like I had not been able. Like I obviously like I walk my dog and shit like that. But as far as like lifting and doing anything with like some resistance and some tension, hadn't been able to do it.
Yeah,
and,
I bet.
And today was the first time I did it because like I'd always feel the pain right in my arm. When I thought I ripped my fucking bicep apart. But today was the first time I worked out. I was like, yeah, man, it's time to get back into it. That's definitely a stress relief and all that shit. So that's just so I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna work out at home. Like if I don't need to go to a gym, I have plenty of land to build a small personal one for me. Just like how you have one in your home, especially doing deadlifts after whiskey like you did. You fucking psychopath.
That's right. That's a thing. If it wasn't a thing before,
You're crazy,
hey,
bro.
what do you do after whiskey? You do some deadlifts. And it wasn't a lot of weight.
Yeah.
Like I was doing like 185, but it was more of like weight training with hit high intensity cardio in there. So it was doing deadlifts, I was doing push-ups, and I was doing mountain climbers. So I was, even though it wasn't a lot of weight, after those 5 rounds, I was like low oxygen. I had to lay down on the ground. I didn't want to get up because I might pass out.
Yeah.
So it was good. It felt awesome.
Yeah. I
Maybe
did.
that was the whiskey. Who knows?
Yeah. No, I wasn't the whiskey. You're in pretty good shape over there. I did high intensity training. I did it with resistance bands. That's what I have at home. You know, I'm in a different position. I have to lose weight, so I was just trying to get my heart rate up and fucking sweat my fucking face off. So I did that. I did some like squats, curls, overhead press, did push-ups with the resistance band. I had the thing where you can anchor it to the back side of the door. So I was able to do some flies, some fucking barbell or some resistance band rows, some overhead for my tricep. I just did like a full fucking workout. So it was a good time, man. I definitely enjoy. What else am I doing with the stimmy?
Yeah.
Let me see. I don't know yet, man. I mean, we put the money away, like I said. We're gonna start. Actually, what we're gonna start doing is really attacking our car debt.
Yeah.
We're gonna start making double payments on that. Try to get that because we don't want to have two bills at the same time.
Yeah.
Like we haven't had, we have the mortgage and this shit, but like we don't want to have 2 recurring monthly payments for different things. That's not a mortgage. Because we have enough of those, with the light, the phone, and all that shit. So we're gonna make double payments on the car, get it paid off in like 18 months or sooner. Get that paid off, and then we're gonna go into the shed. But this stimmy, man, like a lot of people, all right, I'll say like this: a lot of people don't like the stimulus, right? Because they feel like it's a government handout. But look, I can only speak for myself. I make pretty good money, right? But for the most part, I've been a check to check person. You know what I mean? Because I'm it's just the way it is. Like it's with the bills, trying to own a house in this economy, mortgage going up year after year, rolling over because you think it's going to be the same mortgage payment, and it's not. It's something that a lot of people don't know. Yeah, property taxes go up. My property taxes are going to go up another $235 this next year because they want to roll in fire insurance for whatever fucking reason. We don't have any fires, but they want to roll that stuff in. So that constantly grows and that constantly changes. So this is the first time that I've been able to have a safety net, man, like of more than $500 at one time. Because even in the past, I was like, man, I'm gonna have to use this $500. So I'm using this stimmy. The last stimmy, I bought a bike. This stimmy I'm using as a safety net. Like I put $1,000 of the $1,400. I put it right into my savings. I was like, I can't touch this. So I'm gonna eventually, like once I learn more and you educate me more, and the other Jonathan, we talk more about it. Like I'll probably invest some of it, try to get some more diversifying funds. But for right now, I'm just putting it to savings, man, and figuring out a good way to continue to build the nest egg and a safety net because the plan is still Panama.
Yeah,
that's
I mean, look, I think that's probably the best way to segue into some of this financial talk that we had discussed.
Our last topic of the evening.
Yeah.
You had some new gems you wanted to drop on the people, man.
I don't know if it's gems. I told you that I have this inventory of I have what? Pebbles?
Is it pebbles?
I have some gravel. I have some gravel, some pea gravel.
Yeah.
River pebbles. I don't know.
Some pea gravel. It's a terrible name for it. Yeah.
That's how you know we're fucking old and we're homeowners. Talking about pea gravel and river stones and all this bullshit.
For real.
So
different
I have some inventory that I bought, networking and mini PCs and stuff like that. And I was just holding on to it. I finally got it loaded up on Facebook Marketplace. It was going slow. So today I decided, all right, I'm going to adjust the prices. I'm going to start shipping it because I was just only selling local. And so I said, all right, I'm gonna start shipping it throughout the US. I'm gonna adjust the prices. So I'll offer free shipping, but it's like 50% off shipping really, because I'm gonna work some of the shipping into the price. And so, but I'll offer free shipping on the thing. And I was answering, I don't know how many messages came through today, but I sold like $250 worth of those little mini PCs today because I sold out on all 10 of them. I sold 9. I have 1 left, and I adjusted my other listing, so I have like 20 of those. I'm going to adjust that listing. I'm going to offer shipping, and I think they're probably going to sell pretty quickly as well. And then I have a ton of other equipment, like probably $2 to $3 grand of equipment. That's not how much I paid for it, but that's how much I could potentially make sitting in my sunroom that I'm only selling locally, but I'm
not
hurting
your
myself.
son's room.
In my son,
Not your son.
sunroom. Not my son's room,
Okay.
the sunroom.
Gotcha.
Although I don't care, I'll
gotcha.
throw it in that room too. Be like, all right, dude, whatever, you figure it out. You got a bed.
Yeah.
But
Make a path.
But those, again, I was only selling locally, and so those are really, like, when you're talking about routers and servers, there's going to be a limited crowd of who's going to buy that locally. So I have to make it available to for shipping, and I gotta work those prices as well. I gotta put them up on eBay. Again, these are little things that I do on the site to generate income. Anyone can. It's as easy as you going to, who knows, Salvation Army, or going to what's the other one? The big one that's actually a scam, or I think is a scam.
You talking about the fucking pyramid scheme?
No, I don't know what it is, but it's probably that one. But anyway, yeah, one of these thrift stores where you buy stuff at a discount,
John. Let's not get sued.
and you can sell it, right? It's called arbitrage. You can do that. But what I do is, like I've said before, I have a reseller's license. It costs $15 to register with the county or the city or whatever, however your state does it. And then you can, at that point, purchase from wholesalers. You can purchase from liquidators who take Best Buys or Amazon's or someone else's inventory and sell it at a deep discount, right? And so all this networking equipment, it was like a couple of pallets. So we bought it for 300 something. After shipping, it was like 1,000 because it was heavy. But we're gonna sell it for like $3 grand. So
now
that's
did you find?
Let me ask
you. Did you do this through a website, or did you go to like a physical building and do it that way? Like, what do you typically research? What do you typically search for that type of stuff?
All online. So there are specific websites that I go that they only allow you to, they're like, we'll call it eBay, but for resellers or business owners. And so liquidation websites, and some websites, companies liquidate Walmart, Best Buy, Home Depot, Lowe's. There's one that liquidates like over 30 big chains. Whether you want to buy electronics, household goods, tools, like there's something, the lots are divided for those different categories. And then there's another one that I use that, again, they liquidate Amazon's. And so that's what I like to focus on, like the Amazon and the Best Buy and the electronics, things like gaming peripherals, gaming mice, mechanical keyboards, headsets, all the shit that I know. Because even though I haven't played video games in years, I have sons that play video games. I still keep up with it. So like I know what people are looking for, what they like, what's trending, etc. And we talk about it offline, maybe not so much on the show, where e-games is $1 billion industry, e-gaming. But some people don't think that there's money in that. But yeah, so that's why I focus on the gaming related electronics aspect of it. And I know about routers and all this stuff, so it was an easy just transition for me to just go look and I see a ton of routers that are for sale, and they were all from Asus and they were refurbished. So I knew that they were gonna command a pretty high dollar, close to what they would have if they were new. But like one of those sites, liquidation.com. So you can actually go on there without having a membership and go on liquidation.com and check out like everything that they have. And some stuff's gonna look like trash, but like if you research and look, you'll see some pretty good pallets or boxes depending on what size you're buying. But that I want to get away from that. I'm doing that. I have this inventory. I want to move it, get it out of the house, and focus on the stuff that I talked to you about, affiliate websites and creating something that's passive. And in those affiliate websites, it's going to take a year to 18 months to build traffic. And once people start going there, the affiliate links are embedded in those reviews, and people click on the links. They go to Amazon. They might not buy the $1,800 treadmill that I reviewed, but they might buy other stuff on Amazon. and so I get a commission off of that, and it takes time to build that traffic organically. So that could take that would take multiple episodes. Like what I really wanted to talk to you about was the stuff that you and I and Jonathan discussed, the investing and ETFs and stocks that we were like 45 minutes to an hour talking about that with the whole GameStop saga. And I actually have something pulled up here on screen. So if I can, let me see if I can share my screen and my computer doesn't lose its mind. I think it's this one. Maybe I can share a screen. I'll share my second screen. Okay. Yo, are you talking?
Ha! I
don't know what you were saying.
Unmute. I was calling you a bitch, basically, what it came down to that.
Jesus, of course.
I mean, that's really. Yeah. No, I was actually talking about the fact that affiliate links are in the description now because everything we use on this podcast was bought through Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
So for sure, check out the affiliate links below. But yeah, man, show me what you got over here on the screen share.
All right, man. So I'm going to just put, I'll put $5,000 starting amount because it wasn't just you, but Tony. He's in Air Force tech training where he gets room service and stuff. And at some point when you're going through in processing, they talk to you about TSP, which is the equivalent of a 401k for those of you that weren't in the military. Mm-hmm. So he was asking me about TSP, and of course, around that same time, the whole thing with GameStop was going on. So he was really curious about investing, and I think I know I should have done a better job of talking to him about it as he was growing up. Things that they don't talk to you about in school. Things that I wish someone would have talked to me about, and I didn't really. I talked to Tony about it, but never really in depth. Maybe because he never really showed a lot of interest, and you just focus on the things that kids show interest in. But this is a skill that everyone needs to know, needs to have. Because
I'm learning right now.
I mean, like you mentioned, right?
Bigger, so I could. I made the screen bigger so I could really see what's popping. You know what I mean?
Like you said, you're gonna put the money in savings, right? The stimmy money.
Yeah.
I mean, you're gonna spend it, pay some bills and stuff, but then you're gonna put it in savings, whatever's left over.
Yep.
And so that's an ongoing conversation for years that I've had with my wife. Like we save money. Sometimes we save too much, but we should have been investing more.
Right.
And like I said, I started my TSP way back almost 20 years ago. My 401k, my Roth IRA, like when I was 25. And now I have a TSP or 401k through my employer now, and they do a 5% match. So I'm good on that in that sense but I can't touch them until I'm 59 and a half. And so I need to have other accounts, but I need to have something that's going to generate income for me. So I have on this tab, I changed it. These are ETFs. Exchange traded funds. I think we talked about it last time, and you're like, "What the fuck is an ETF? You're just throwing these terms around. Yep. What does that mean?"
Yeah. Glad you said it again.
Yeah, but I told you what it stood for. Yeah.
Yep. I remembered, sort of, kind of.
Yeah.
I drink whiskey during our podcast, bro. I have to listen to them back sometimes.
Yeah, I think you do. But essentially, what these are is they're a collection of different securities, whether they're bonds, stocks, and this one right here in particular. This one tracks the S&P 500. Now, if you look back historically, the S&P 500, which are like the 500
biggest companies,
500,
biggest 500 companies, right?
Sure. We'll call it that. That is historically, it's been around 8.5% returns. That's including the shit that happened during the 2008 crash, where some people lost 37-40% of their portfolio, because historically the market doesn't go down like consistently month after month after month. Eventually, after that drawdown, the market picked back up, and that's how it's worked. If you look back 10 years, 20 years, 40 years.
Right. So, John, for those people listening and or watching, right, what does an 8.5% return mean as far as their money?
So we'll look at it here in simple terms, right? We'll put 1 year. We'll break it down on this tab. And when you look at it at 1 year, it's not going to seem like a lot. And I'll put 8% here to be conservative. and we'll just make it compounding annually just to keep things simple. If
Okay.
you don't put any more money, if you start with $5,000 and you
Mhm.
just leave $5,000 in there and you don't put any more money, that's the simplest calculation we can do, right? After 1 year, if
Mhm.
this works like it should, you'll make $400. That's 8%, right?
I said, okay,
If you don't
gotcha.
put any more money any other month, you just put $5,000 and you just let it sit there and you don't do anything. All right. After 5 years, or let's see, we'll do 2, just and then we'll go to 5. So after 2 years, that means that second year you're really going to be 8% of 5,400. So you're at 5,832. Okay. Again, this is
All right.
if you don't put anything in any month every month.
If you don't
afterwards.
keep adding money in, gotcha.
Right. If you don't contribute. So
Ooh.
after 5 years, again, it's not a lot of growth. It's 2,300. So you're at $7,300 from your initial $5,000 investment.
Right.
Which
Mhm.
again, it beats a savings account any day. And the reason why people are scared of the stock market though is because of what happened in 2008 and what's happened
Yep.
throughout time. There is a drawdown, there is a crash, there was the .com burst, boom and burst.
Yep.
So that stuff happens, but the market always picks up. The unfortunate part is that people will invest and then one of these busts happens and they pull their money out
They pull out.
and then they
Yep.
never get back in. So they lost everything and they never recoup, as opposed to just, waiting for that market
Letting
to
it sit there.
recover. And
Okay.
and so that's what happens with a lot of people. So if we go out 20 years, I'm 37, let's say 20 years, by 57, I want to retire. I don't want to work till I'm 60 something. It's going to make $23,000. It's not going to do a whole lot for me. Again, it's better than sitting in a savings account because it's earning interest.
Yep.
And it's more
Mhm.
than the yearly inflation. Inflation also goes up. That's why it's terrible to just leave all your money in a savings account, because not only are you not gaining interest, or maybe 0.5% if you're lucky, but inflation goes up. So it's eroding whatever 0.5% your savings account was making for you. So if we take the same example,
So how do you? But how do you invest in the S&P 500? Is that something you would do just like how you did with Robinhood and buying a stock, or do you have to buy into a specific company in the S&P 500 for
no,
that?
so
Because the S&P 500 was an ETF.
yeah, so you
Yeah.
could
Yeah.
you could
Okay.
do Robinhood, or you can do I have E-Trade, that's my
E-Trade.
broker. And E-Trade is owned by, I think E-Trade is owned by Schwab. Like a lot of these, they're not even the major one, but they are a major broker, but they're owned by an even bigger one. And I think it's Schwab that owns E-Trade.
Of course.
But what you would do is you would buy, if you want to stay as safe as possible, like that, between investing in just dividend paying stocks and doing your own thing and leaving your money in a savings account, I guess the safest thing would be putting money in an ETF, which is again a portfolio. It's a fund of a portfolio of different securities, and there's stocks, there's bonds, there's different things. And this one right here,
Right.
SPY, tracks the S&P 500. So it's made up of companies,
Okay.
different companies in the S&P 500. So if I were to invest in that ETF, and let's say I started with $5,000, and I'm going to say, everyone's different. So I'll say $500. Like I was telling Mel, I want to put $1,200 a month into this thing. And I have a
Right.
different strategy that I don't think we have time to talk about, but I have
Yeah.
a list of 3 other funds that track not only the S&P, but a couple other it's not indexes, it's indices. I guess that's close enough. And so
That's a weird word.
it's
That's a weird word.
SPY, yeah, plus 3 other funds.
Mhm.
And so what I'm going to do is I'll track those 4, SPY plus the other 3, and every month we'll start with SPY. And at the end of the month, if SPY is being outperformed by one of those other funds, I'm going to take my, not just
Transfer.
at the end of the month, but I'll look back 3 months. I'll do a 3-month look back analysis.
Yeah.
And I'll see if at the end of the month, let's say I want to start investing at the end of March. So I'll look at all of March, all of February, all of January. And if SPY is the one that's the best, at the end of March, I'll put all my money in SPY. Then when April 30th comes around, I'll look back, April, March, February. If there
Yeah.
is a fund
Do a
that's
quarterly
outperforming,
review.
well, it's every
Do a
month.
quarterly.
It's every month, really. But I'm just doing it. I'm
Right.
looking back 3 months, but every month, at the end of every month, I'm going back and doing the look back analysis. And if
Gotcha.
the fund where I have my money is being outperformed, I'm just going to rotate those funds, because you would think that performance begets performance. So you would expect that next month that other one is probably going to continue to outperform. And there are downsides
Right.
with that,
The
which
trajectory would stay in that path.
exactly. Yeah, absolutely. And
Right.
so there are downsides, because the downside is you're going to take the capital gains tax. If you take it out of the ETF, you take money out of that ETF to buy into the other one, then you're going to take those dividends and those capital gains and you'll be taxed on that. But so that's why I already want to talk about that get in depth into that strategy. So that's the big downside.
Right.
But the easy one is just to find one ETF that tracks S&P is one of the better rated ones, and just leave your money, just buy and hold, and continue to put money in that one. And there's going to be down years. There's years where you might lose 4%, or maybe instead of gaining 8, you gain 4. But there's years where like you outperform and you gain 15%, 16%. But if you look historically, S&P 500, it's been around 8.5%. So you're not looking, this is not short term, it's long term. So you're looking at like 10, 15, 20 years. If that's your time horizon, then the safest thing, as opposed to rotating like what I'm going to do, you could just leave your money and buy and hold. So if you start with 5,000 and 8%, we'll say 8%, and you contribute an extra 500 a month after 1 year, if this will work with me.
Bum, 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 bum.
So you'll be at I don't know if you can see, you'll be at 11 grand. I think I can zoom in a little bit right
I
here.
can see it. I made the screen big. Yeah.
Okay. So you'll be at 11 grand. Your initial 5,000, you contributed 6,000, you gained 600 interest. Again, that doesn't sound exciting. So if we go back, if we look at 5 years, you have, again, started with 5 grand, a total of 30,000 contributions. Now it'll have grown by 8,000 just interest alone. And for me, my horizon is actually, my horizon is a lot more aggressive, but let's look at 20 years. So 57, that would still put you at retiring well before most people retire. Still relatively young, still able to go, enjoy your life, whatever. And for me, I'm 37. That would put me at 57, because that's the retirement age for a civil servant.
Holy shit.
So again, this is where compounding interest and time, which is why I told Tony, start putting money in right now. You're 21, start putting in money as early as possible, because you started with 5,000. Over those 20 years, if you did 500 a month, you've contributed 120,000. But look how much interest you gained on that money.
$182,000.
Right. And so that puts you at 307, which I think if we do the calculation, the rule of thumb is if you have any investment, you want to live off of 4%. So like these investments that pay dividends, you only want to take 4%. So we'll be at 307. Yeah, we'll leave it at 307 even times 4%, because that's how much we're going to take out every year. And again, it's not a ton of money, but your plan is Panama. So that means if you pull out 4% of that $307,000, you're at $12,000 a year. All right. Or again, it's not a lot, or $1,000 a month, but that's money you don't have to work for anymore.
Yeah, I thought that made more sense. I was like $12,000 a year. Like that's
it's $1,000 a month, but you'll be retired and you'll have whatever other income you have, your other job. And if you're going to be in Panama, then it's
plenty of money.
This is maybe not quite enough, although it's pretty close to it, based off the conversations we've had with other folks that know the lay of the land. But this, in addition to like whatever other job you're gonna have, I think will put you like in a really comfortable situation. Like to me, I'm going to be a little more aggressive, because I want to retire when I'm 47.
Yep.
And so that's why I told Mel that I wanted to start contributing like somewhere around 1,200 or 1,400 a month. And I don't even think I'll hit that mark. That. Oh wait, no, 49. I'm
pretty
sorry,
close, bro.
it was 12 years, but I still won't hit that mark. And I'm actually expecting to have something a little higher. Plus, I have other investments that I've had for like 15 years.
I
So
mean, you,
this, in addition
you're
to
at
that,
308.
yeah,
I mean, you're
and
right there.
this, yeah, this in addition to the other investments we've had, plus the one thing that's not included in here is the sale of this house. And so this house is
Yes.
it's been appreciating really, really fast. Whether that continues,
Yeah, here
who
too.
knows? But it's appreciating extremely fast. We're paying it down. I expect that like 5 years from now, 6 years from now, when we sell this house, after it gets paid off and after we pay our commissions or whatever, we're gonna have at
Mhm.
least $100,000 in proceeds, and that $100,000 is going straight to this account. So that means that
Yeah.
really, at the 6 year mark, if we account for the house at the 6 year mark, we'll be at
You
125.
got you're gonna
Yeah.
you add in the 100 grand.
So
Yeah.
then I'll add the 100 grand. So 125 plus 100 will be at 225.
Yep.
And for 4 more years, actually 12 years total, 6 more years. And so I think that's
Over
what's
a
going to get
million.
me closer to that number. And
466.
yeah, and then by that time I'll have my pension, and then then 12 years after that,
Mel still has
eventually
hers.
my 401k and all that stuff will
This
kick in on Roth IRA.
so this will be like this 466 with that math we did, right? That 466 is your safety net. Right? That's not counting all the other income that you're gonna have from your retirement and all that other stuff.
That
So
yeah,
this will
that's
be
not
like
counting. Yeah, that's not counting my
okay.
pension. That's not counting my Roth. That's not counting the 401k that I get from work, plus the 401k that I had when I was in the army. Because once you get out of the military, you can't contribute to it anymore, but it's still continuing to
Correct.
grow. So that's going to grow
Yep,
until I
still
turn
there.
59. So it's got 22 years left of growth.
Yep.
And again,
I'm about to talk to you about how the fuck do I like find out where that is? That 401k from the military.
you had you had a
'Cause it's
TSP.
somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I signed up for everything that was money.
Okay, yeah. If you had one,
Yeah.
man, we'll work through it. You can contact the TSP and they'll send you the PIN and everything else so you can access it online.
Yeah, it's got to be there because I remember those 401k. Man, I remember those pay stubs. That was I think I paid more too. It was like your money's lower. Like, I'm thinking of the long game, brother. Even then,
Yeah.
I was like, because this is like that was like at that point it was the most money I made. So I was like, yeah, I'm thinking about the bigger picture. Like I might not be saving physically, but this is going somewhere, and it has my fucking name on it. So
Yeah.
man, that's crazy when you look at it like that. And that breakdown really helps seeing how that works. So that's why you were asking me what I'm thinking about doing with my stimmy was putting it into an ETF as opposed to leaving it in my savings account.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I don't give people, except for my my son, like advice on like, hey, I strongly suggest, like in the military, it's not mandatory, but I strongly suggest you invest. Because at the end of the day, it's other people's money. I'm not a money manager, I'm not a hedge fund manager, private banker, whatever. But and the market has down years. We've seen them, we've lived through them. I wasn't affected so much
twice.
because I was still in the military. And then after that, I was gainfully employed for Uncle Sam. So we've been fortunate that way. But we saw like around us how it affected people, neighbors, the cities that we lived in. Like I saw it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's why people are afraid to invest in the stock market, because it's all, we're printing money out of thin air. Like, oh, we're just $1.9 trillion. Okay. But it's been a proven method. Again, the Great Depression didn't happen forever. Eventually it picked back up, and the people that made the most money were the people that bought in or stayed, or when they lost almost all their stuff, they bought even more at the bottom because there was a recovery. And again, it's tough to tell people when you look at these numbers, like, man, $5,000 and then $500. What if I lose all my money? Like, that's why I don't tell people what to do with their money. I just say, look, this is what's possible. Look at 10 years, 20 years, 30 years back. You see that it's been a growing trend. Yeah, you'll see that there were dips in the market. There were big drawdowns, but over time, it's consistently grown. And
okay,
that's my plan. I'm definitely going to be aggressive with it. And I'm not even pulling all my savings out to start this separate investment. But at this point, I have like 20 years left. This is probably the last one that I'm going to start. And I think if I'm fortunate enough to retire with a pension and then my 401k, that should cover me more than enough. But it's not too late. Like at 36, 37, like you've got plenty of time.
Plenty of time. Yeah. Because it's not just yours, it's also your significant other's pension as well. So it's, you know what I mean? So yeah.
I don't want to say plenty of time. Actually, what I want to say is like at 36, 37, if you're thinking about investing, then you want to start now, because time is your best friend or your worst enemy. If you're 20 years old, it's 100%. Your best friend. If you're 37 like me and like you and I, then it's starting to become an enemy, because you have less time. If you want to retire at 57, at 47, then you have to be more aggressive with your investing, and you have less time to just, wait it out.
Yeah, man. Like you just fucking took me to school. Like you just taught me more about financial management and advice as far as all this stuff, just busting out that calculator and doing it that way. So that's definitely something I'm gonna look at for sure, bro. Like that's crazy.
I want you to see this crazy number before we get off. Look at this. If we started at 20 years old, and for 30 years you want to retire at 50.
Don't do that, John.
Look, I'm just telling you why time is our best friend or worst enemy. So we're like on that back end. We're like LeBron's hairline now. It's just going to continue to recede.
All right. But that came back. You know what I mean? That came back. It was terrible in Miami. Came back in LA.
If you started at 20 years old,
$464,000
in interest. This is what we would have in the bank. Just for that 613.
Just for shits and giggles, put 40. Because if you started at 20 and you did it till 60.
Yeah, hell, let's do 35, because 35 makes a big difference too. And you want to retire at 55.
So if you're listening, John's putting the $5,000 as a starting amount and $400 a month rolling over contributions. It's motherfucking $1 million. $1 million.
Yeah. You almost 930,000. Yeah, if we put 40 years, you'd be a millionaire. If we put 40 years, you probably I want to say like a 1.3 million or something.
Let's see if your number's right. You should be right.
Almost 1.4.
Yeah. Yeah. Almost 1.4. Motherfucker, bro.
$400 a month. You start with $5,000, but the crazy part is that if you start with like $2,000, that number wouldn't be too far off. It's time and compounding. The compounding effect. Yeah. Look, it's a $6,000 difference. It's not the starting amount. It's time. That's your best friend.
It's motherfucking time.
I know. God, and I'm in 2,271. I'm way out there. Like my time is almost out, man.
I don't know.
But you're in 1865. Yeah, 2175. You're right. You're in 1865. You got some time.
Yeah. So 1865 is a terrible year for my skin color. Just want to throw that out there real quick. That's gonna be the Sunday show. God damn, John, you just fucking took me to school, my brother. I appreciate that shit. I hope I'm gonna cut this up right after the show and like post this shit everywhere, because you just that was amazing, brother. And I usually give you a hard time, but God, just seeing that shit, I'm gonna sit down with my wife right after this, and we're like, yo, we need to do this. This is what we need to do with the money.
Yeah, damn. And I mean, and that's just buying and holding one ETF. You can do the same thing with I told you about dividend paying stocks and the dividend aristocrats, which are the top 25 stocks that have been paying dividends for at least 50 straight years. Then what I'm thinking about doing, which is doing the look back analysis every 3 months or every month and rotating to the best performing ETF. We didn't even actually get into that because the returns.
Oh, we're going to talk about that next time.
Yeah. And hedging, right? So buying those ETFs, but having 40% of your investment in bonds that don't gain as much, but they'll protect you during a downturn in the economy. They'll also limit how much you can gain, but the important part is that when there's a downturn, and there's always a downturn, there's going to be some kind of bottom that when people lose 30%, you might lose 5%, you might gain 0.5%, but those are different strategies. The easy one is just buying and holding an ETF that has had success. And that one's been around since 2001, I believe.
And
So-
then what you could do with that additional contribution, let's say when you're done paying off a car or any recurring debt that you have, you add that
Exactly.
into additional contribution, and you
Absolutely.
almost do like that Dave Ramsey type shit, right? Like where you pay off
Snowball effect.
all these other things. Yeah, let the snowball effect happen, and just because you're already used to paying that amount of money, so you just let that roll into the additional contributions. Yeah, man, that's
Exactly.
fucking dope, man. That is fucking dope. All right, so before we get out of here, let me remove that screen. Let me throw it back to the official. My brother, I appreciate you, man. That was fucking dope. You took me to school. You took me to fucking school. I learned a lot just seeing that shit because we talk about it all the time, but like seeing the numbers is a totally different beast.
That's huge.
It's a
We're
totally
visual
different
learners,
beast.
man. Seeing the numbers, as simple
Yeah,
as
man.
that calculator is, makes a huge difference to people, to everyone.
100%. I'm my brother till Sunday when we'll finally be doing the Colorism Race podcast. Looking forward to that. And I'll be drinking more whiskey. Only one glass today because I got to work early tomorrow. But thank you so much, man. My brother, the Man Chatter podcast is out. You got anything, little man?
Don't call me that.
I think you're frozen.
Peace.
Oh, I get the. Throw it. All right, man. By the way, next time fix your camera because there's like 85 feet of headroom and it looks like you're 5'2". All right, guys. We out. Peace.
Bow, bow, bow. Bow, 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 bow.